Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Coming up in the next hour. Bangladesh votes in the national elections. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina eyes fifth term as the main opposition boycotts the polls. Major milestone for the Indian Air Force, successfully lands C-130j Super Hercules aircraft in stealth mode on airstrip in Kargil at night for the first time. Online campaign to boycott Maldives trends after some Maldivian ministers post anti-India remarks. Maldivian government distances itself from the controversy, says remarks are personal. Indian women's cricket team to clash with Australia in the second T20 match in Mumbai. India leads the three-match series 1-0. Bangladesh, the nation of nearly 180 million people, voted to the 12th national elections today. Counting will start soon, with initial results expected by early Monday. About 120 million people will be deciding the fate of the candidates. There were no reports of violence on voting day. However, nearly 800,000 security forces are guarding the polling booths, assisted by troops nationwide. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina cast her vote on Sunday's election. The polls are set to carry her Awami League-led alliance to a fourth straight term amid boycott by the main opposition party. After voting, Sheikh Hasina addressed reporters and said, "Bangladesh is a sovereign country and people are my power."
Country is the sovereign country, sovereign independent country. Maybe it's a small country, but we have big population. So people's right, we have established people's democratic right and also right to their better life or their prosperous life. That is our main aim. We want to do that. So I'm trying my best to ensure that democracy should continue in this country.
And Sheikh Hasina also expressed hope that her party would win people's mandate, which would give it a fifth term.
Our country has been progressing, and how? We have more work to do in the coming times. I'm hoping that we will win this election and form the government. And with all the support from the people of our nation, we will be able to continue with the progressive work. We believe in ourselves and have faith in the people of Bangladesh.
And DD India correspondent Naval Singh Parmar joins us live from Dhaka. Naval Singh, how is the voting coming along? And there appears to be a heightened focus on security and fairness of these polls.
Yes, till 3 p.m. the voting percentage was 27.15%. It is a comparatively low voting percent. And at 4 p.m. or at 4 officially now, voting is completed, but those people who are now at the polling station or voting station, they will be allowed to cast their vote as we have a system in India. And as you mentioned, that it is a heightened situation and the heavy deployment of security forces are there to prevent any unwanted incidents of law and order.
What has been the impact of the boycott by the main opposition party, BNP?
Yes, certainly it is having an impact on voting percentage. Those who are having affiliation towards the opposition party, mainly BNP or like other like-minded party like Jamaat-e-Islami, they may refrain from the voting. So certainly it will have impact on the voting percentage. But there are other parties, apart from Awami League, 27 parties which are contesting the election. And apart from that, around 450 independent candidates are there who are giving tough fight to the candidates of the various political parties.
And Naval Singh, finally, while Bangladesh has achieved remarkable economic development in the recent years, the cost of living has also spiked for people. What are the issues dominating the public discourse in these elections?
Yes, actually, after COVID and Ukraine-Russia war, there is a impact on Bangladesh economy, and due to this international and some domestic factors, the cost of living, particularly the inflation of food items and energy item have been increased. And there is, of course, there is an issue. Inflation is one of the biggest issue in Bangladesh right now. And apart from that, unemployment, which is also a major issue in Bangladesh in this election.
Nawal Singh, thank you for those updates. And hashtag Explore Indian Islands started trending on X after a few Maldivian ministers posted anti-India remarks on the social media handle. Several Indian celebrities and social media influencers also joined an online campaign calling for a boycott of Maldives. The Indian High Commission in Maldives also raised the matter with the Maldivian authorities. As the situation escalated, government of Maldives put out a statement saying that it is aware of the derogatory remarks on social media platforms against foreign leaders and high-ranking individuals. The statement read that the opinions are personnel and do not represent the views of the government of Maldives. The relevant authorities of the government of Maldives will not hesitate to take action against those who make such derogatory remarks. And DD India correspondent Meghna Dev joins us with more updates. Meghna, just take us through what the controversy is all about first.
So, just before the controversy, we will actually, I need to take to our viewers from where all of the talks about the island places and these tourist spots began. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Lakshadweep and he shared his pictures of snorkeling and walking on the beaches, where he showcased and clearly, very brilliantly advertised what India has in terms of pristine beaches and beautiful tourist spots and locations. So, since then onwards, people have been Googling about Lakshadweep, people have been Googling about how to reach there, the temperature, the tourism in Lakshadweep, the resorts and much more. There have also been a lot of spike in Google search in terms of Lakshadweep. After that, we saw that there was the Lakshadweep was trending on X, and there was a lot of buzz about around Lakshadweep and the adventure sports also. After that, what happened is that people started comparing it with other tourist destinations and similar tourist destinations like Maldives. And now, when we actually see the controversy broke when the Minister of Youth Empowerment of Maldives, she tweeted derogatory remarks against India, against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So those derogatory remarks were not taken obviously not taken in good taste by the netizens. They definitely started, the trending Explore Indian Islands, boycott Maldives, and such things started trending on Twitter, formerly now known as X. So when we definitely see that after all of this, all the situation escalated, the government of Maldives also put out a statement where they said that they are aware about the derogatory remarks made by the minister, and they also did say that the government would not hesitate to, the government of Maldives would not hesitate to take any action against such derogatory remarks if they are also made in the future.
And a significant online fallout of the whole controversy, Meghna.
Yes, absolutely. This whole controversy has its roots online when we actually see that some derogatory remarks were posted. Also, that she has been reposting some tweets by some people, some netizens, where they have been saying that Lakshadweep can never replace Maldives, and much more is being said. But besides that, we definitely see that how a number of celebrities have come ahead, a number of people people on social media have come ahead where they have been saying that because when we actually see India is one of the biggest sources of tourists to Maldives. It definitely takes a top spot when it comes to people from India visiting Maldives for vacations and for tourism. But besides that, also when we actually saw a number of trolls, a number of people comparing Lakshadweep, comparing other tourist destinations in India to Maldives, and obviously posting derogatory comments, posting derogatory remarks, definitely was not taken in good taste. So this all controversy definitely has its roots and is all happening on social media, where people are hashtags are trending. People are trying to say that where all we can go. People are also posting the screenshots of how they have cancelled their trip to the Maldives and much more. So definitely, but while as I said, that once the matter escalated and our High Commission also took up this matter with the Maldivian authorities. Our High Commission in Maldives has taken up this matter with the Maldivian authorities, and obviously the government of Maldives has put out a statement where they have said that these kind of remarks are not acceptable. So this definitely does put it does put a stop on the controversy as of now, but we definitely have to see, because it's social media, and once the things escalate, it goes on for at least for some time, and it has some shelf life for that matter.
Right, Meghna, just a little more on diplomatic front. What after the statement issued by Maldivian government?
So definitely, I just have to say one thing on this, because our High Commission in Maldives has taken up the matter of the minister passing derogatory comments, anti-India remarks on her social media, and they have taken up this matter with the Maldivian authorities. Now we will definitely have to see what will be an update on that. While the government of Maldives have responded with this statement, they've definitely said that freedom of expression is there, but one should exercise freedom of expression responsibly. So that, having said all of that, we will definitely have to wait if there is some more update on the matter, because the Indian High Commission has taken it up with the Maldivian authorities. We will definitely keep you updated if there is something more to add to this whole controversy.
Meghna, thank you for joining us with those updates. Moving on, Taiwan has slammed Chinese balloons as safety threat and psychological warfare. Taiwan's defense ministry accused China on Saturday of threatening aviation safety and waging psychological warfare on island's people with the recent spate of balloons spotted near or over the island. This is days before key Taiwanese elections. The potential for China to use balloons for spying became a global issue in February when the United States shot down what it said was a Chinese surveillance balloon. China, meanwhile, said that the balloon was a civilian craft that accidentally drifted astray. Taiwan is on high alert for Chinese military and political activity ahead of the January 13th presidential and parliamentary elections in the island. And China has announced sanctions on 5 American defense-related companies in response to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan and U.S. sanctions on Chinese companies and individuals. The sanctions come ahead of Taiwan's January 13th presidential and parliamentary elections. The U.S. State Department last month approved $300 million sale of equipment to help maintain Taiwan's tactical information systems. A foreign ministry statement issued says sanctions will freeze any property the companies have in China and prohibit individuals and organizations in China from doing business with them. And waiting for a short break, still to come on DT India News Hour. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with leaders of Turkey and Greece, urges West Asian nations to prevent endless cycle of violence. 11 killed by missile attack in Ukraine's town of Perovsk. Rescue efforts continue. And Japan's Prime Minister vows to provide ceaseless support to areas devastated by earthquake.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India. Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India. Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with leaders of Turkey and Greece on Saturday during the opening stops of his latest West Asia diplomatic mission. Blinken said that West Asian nations need to use their influence to prevent what he said, an endless cycle of violence in the region. Blinken said it was in nobody's interest to escalate the conflict or allow it to spread beyond Gaza.
Said from day one, we have an intense focus on preventing this conflict from spreading. And a big part of the conversations we'll be having over the coming days with all of our allies and partners is looking at the steps that they can take, using the influence and ties that they have to do just that, to make sure that this conflict doesn't spread. Second, we'll be looking at what we can do to maximize the protection for civilians, maximize humanitarian assistance getting into them, and also to get hostages out of Gaza.
According to US officials, Blinken's focus is on increasing aid to the besieged Gaza Strip, controlled by Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. This marks Blinken's fourth regional tour since the conflict erupted with Hamas's attacks on Israel on October 7th. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Jordan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi on Saturday. During the meeting, discussions were on the conflict in West Asia that took center stage. Secretary Blinken reiterated American commitment to attain peace through establishment of a Palestinian state as part of a two-state solution. Blinken also appreciated Jordan for their role in providing aid to the conflict-hit region. Blinken emphasized on US's adherence to providing humanitarian assistance into Gaza. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken also called on Jordan's King Abdullah in Jordan's capital, Amman. The Israeli Defense Forces, meanwhile, have completed dismantling Hamas's military framework in northern Gaza. Around 8,000 terrorists have been killed in that area, a military spokesperson informed on Saturday. The military has also seized tens and thousands of weapons and millions of documents.
Fighting will continue during 2024. We are operating according to a plan to achieve the war's goals to dismantle Hamas in the north and the south.
Rescue efforts in Ukraine's Donetsk continues after 11 people were killed in a Russian missile strike. Rescue efforts were extended into night. A Russian military statement issued earlier on Saturday said its forces had struck a command post used by a Ukrainian military formation near Prasar. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed his condolences to families of the victims and accused Russia of targeting civilians.
A rescue operation is underway these hours in Pokrovsk and Pokrovsk district after a Russian S-300 missile strike. All necessary rescue forces are involved, including equipment of the emergency services of Ukraine. They are working through the rubble. As of now, we know that at least 10 people are dead. Among them are unfortunately children. My condolences to those that have lost their family or close ones. The Russian strike hit a simple residential building and private houses. The injured are receiving the necessary medical assistance.
Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin of Russia vowed on Saturday to back soldiers who defend Russia's interest. He also assured their families that Moscow would offer support when needed. Putin was speaking on the eve of Orthodox Christmas while at a meeting with families of Russian soldiers who died in Ukraine.
I would like our meeting to be clear, understandable, signal to all my colleagues throughout the Russian Federation and at all levels, a clear signal to ensure that my colleagues are always and everywhere with you. I repeat, any level of power. So you would always have support of people who could back you up if necessarily, to support you, to give you a hand when you need it.
In other stories, Donald Trump downplayed his role in the siege of the U.S. Capitol on the 3rd anniversary of the attack, arguing that those prosecuted for storming the building should be freed. Speaking at a campaign event in Clinton, Iowa, with the first Republican nomination contest little more than a week away, Trump called those jailed in the wake of the January 6, 2021 attack hostages and said they had been mistreated by the Biden administration. Meanwhile, speaking at a campaign rally in Newton, Iowa, Trump told his supporters that U.S. civil war could have been negotiated. Did not explain how.
The Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible, but so fascinating. It was, I don't know, it was just different. I just find it, I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. See, there was something I think could have been negotiated, to be honest with you. I think you could have negotiated that. All the people died. So many people died.
U.S. regulators on Saturday temporarily grounded 171 Boeing 737 MAX 9 jetliners for safety checks after emergency landing of the plane. The Federal Aviation Administration did not rule out further action as a probe began into the apparent structural failure. According to the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, no passengers were seated next to a cabin panel that blew out an Alaska Airlines jet, forcing an emergency landing.
An accident, and yes, we've now determined, based on our definition of substantial damage, that it is an accident, not an incident. Fortunately, all passengers deplaned. We are not aware of any serious injuries. We are aware of reports of minor injuries. With that said, I imagine this was a pretty terrifying event. We don't often talk about psychological injury, but I'm sure that occurred here. So on behalf of the National Transportation Safety Board, I would like to extend our deepest sympathies to those that experienced what I imagine was truly terrifying.
In Japan, after deadly 2024 Noto Peninsula earthquake, the country is suffering through its aftermath. Reconstruction work in quake-affected Japanese villages are hindered due to severe damage and transportation disruptions. Due to this, residents are still forced to live in precarious conditions. Japan declared a state of emergency on Saturday in the central prefecture of Ishikawa. Moreover, as rescue operations are underway, aid workers in an earthquake-hit northern Japanese city also expressed concerns that falling temperatures and possible snowfall may exacerbate the rescue and relief efforts. Japan's Prime Minister vowed to provide ceaseless support to areas devastated by the earthquake.
We are expecting heavy snow in the disaster region. In response to such a situation, we should take urgent measures such as deploying snowplows to ensure the safety of those affected by the disaster, including those in the isolated areas.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has signed into law a bill making it easier for taxpayers to pay their taxes. In a bid to increase the revenue, his government needs to boost infrastructure spending. Ease of Paying Taxes Act, the new law, simplifies procedures by allowing taxpayers to electronically or manually file tax returns with any authorized agent, bank or tax software provider. The new law also allows non-residents to register for these facilities in a bid to attract foreign investors in the Philippines. The number of income tax return pages was also cut to 2 from 4 previously. Sucheta Satish, an 18-year-old Indian singer and Guinness World Record holder from India, has set the new record for singing in 140 languages. This is at a climate concert in Dubai. Here's more.
In a historic and awe-inspiring event, Sucheta Satish, hailing from Kerala, from India, has etched her name in the annals of music history by setting a new world record for singing in the most languages during a single concert. The Guinness Book of World Records officially attested to this feat earlier this week. The remarkable achievement took place at the Indian Consulate Auditorium in Dubai, UAE.
By the grace of God, I am very happy and blessed to have set a new Guinness World Record for the most languages sung in a concert by singing in 140 languages, which included 101 foreign languages and 39 Indian languages in 9 hours in my concert for climate on the 24th of November 2023.
Sucheta's groundbreaking performance was part of a concert for climate, a unique initiative aimed at raising awareness about the critical issue of climate change. The talented artist delivered an astounding rendition of songs in an unprecedented 140 languages, captivating the audience with her musical prowess and a powerful message.
As a multilingual musician whose motto is Music Beyond Borders, I thought of what I could do to spread awareness about climate preservation, and that's how we came up with this concert. Though I can presently sing in 150 languages, the number 140 was chosen as a symbolic representation of the 140 nation heads who had been invited to the UAE for the COP summit.
Sucheta Satish's record-breaking achievement not only establishes her as a musical virtuoso, but also emphasizes the power of music as a universal language to convey important messages. With inputs from Vinod Kumar, UAE for DD India.
Time for a short break. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Security beefed up in the Indian city of Ayodhya ahead of inauguration of Ram Temple. India's Commerce Industry Minister highlights India's economic transformation at Tamil Nadu Global Investors Meet. Cold wave continues to make life difficult in north, northwest and central part of India.
We bring to you the legendary city of Ayodhya and tell you what makes Ayodhya everything that has got to do with the land of Lord Ram.
यहाँ रग रग में हर जगह राम ही है। सनातन धर्म के लिए तो गौरव की बात है। कण कण में भी भगवान राम की सत्ता का एहसास हमें होता है यदि हम लोग ध्यान से उसका अवलोकन करें। आज भी होता है।
This is 10th century old Hanumangadi temple.
यहाँ हनुमान जी महाराज राजा के रूप में बैठे हैं। भारत की संस्कार संस्कृति मठ से, मंदिर से, साधु से, संत से, ऋषि से, मुनि से, महात्मा से जुड़ा हुआ है।
ये विष्णु का मस्तक है, तो यहाँ पे हर कण पावन है। यहाँ
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Our top stories. Bangladesh votes in the national elections. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina eyes fifth term as the main opposition boycotts the elections. Major milestone for the Indian Air Force successfully lands C-130j Super Hercules aircraft in stealth mode on airstrip in Kargil at night for the first time. And online campaign to boycott Maldives trends after some Maldivian ministers post anti-India remarks. Maldivian government distances itself from the controversy, says remarks are personal. On the elections taking place in Bangladesh, joining me is Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya, former Secretary MEA. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. How do you assess the significance of these national elections in Bangladesh, and how is it advantage Sheikh Hasina, given that the main opposition is boycotting the polls?
Well, firstly, I think Bangladesh, as our closest neighbor, the elections over there are extremely important. Bangladesh has had a time during which it has had elections consecutively which have been accepted by the people. There have been difficulties in this one with the opposition wanting to boycott the elections if a caretaker government was not allowed. But as you know, the caretaker government was done away with in the 15th constitutional amendment. And so it was rather churlish of the opposition to demand it. What should have really happened, and I hope it had, was that there would have been a dialogue for consensus between the parties so that the political operations and the political spectrum could have been more widely represented. But I think the opposition was not in a mood for that. This election will be very important for not just Bangladesh, but for the region as well, because it is a voice for democracy that is going to come out of this election. What we have seen is that across the region around us, we have seen the depletion of democratic forces. And therefore, for India to have a democratic partner right next to us is very, very important.
How do you also look at the political landscape of Bangladesh, the manner in which the Awami League, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, consolidated their position?
I think the Awami League, which led the Grand Alliance Party for the last 15 years, has done extremely well on the economic and social fronts. It had fantastic high rates of economic growth. It reduced poverty. I think the social security network had expanded. However, what we did see was that after the COVID, the post-COVID recovery was impacted particularly by the Ukraine war. And there was a definite macroeconomic crisis that came about, which even necessitated an IMF bailout. But in spite of all this, the conditions in Bangladesh, with its widening of infrastructure, diversification of its industry, of course, you know, it still depends on more than 1/3 of its economy from the RMG, the ready-made garment sector, has been happening. And I think the empowerment of the people has happened to a large extent. Unfortunately, the opposition had not been a party to a lot of these economic and social developments that had taken place. And in a sense, it felt that it was distanced from the grassroots. And perhaps that was one of the reasons why it had such an unreasonable demand for the government to step down before the elections, rather than try and work out a mandate which would be progressive for an agenda. So I think this particular election will enable the Awami League to consolidate the economic and social sectors. I hope that there will also be political progress so that dialogue for consensus can also emerge.
And finally, Ambassador, as its closest neighbor and development partner, what do these elections and the outcome mean for India?
As you know, Bangladesh has a very balanced foreign policy in which it sees India as its closest neighbor. I believe Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, when she was out to cast her elections this morning, also referred to the fact that India is the closest neighbor, and she recalled the time when India and Bangladesh had worked together in the 1971 liberation war of Bangladesh, when the Pakistanis had launched genocide against the Bengali people. So our relations go back in history. But I think what we have seen is that in recent times, we have consolidated in all sectors. Our economic collaboration, both in trade and investment, has been considerable. We had opened up our entire economy, so it's a duty-free structure that Bangladesh faces for its exports into India. And during this, we've seen a remarkable growth in trade and investments. We also saw that the line of credit that was extended by India was very usefully utilized to expand Bangladesh's infrastructure. As a result, the kind of connectivity that Bangladesh has within its own country, and also which facilitates the transit from India, from the eastern part of India in the northeast to the mainland side, has also considerably improved. We've also worked collaboratively on a range of regional and global issues. We work together on BIMSTEC, the secretariat of which is located in Bangladesh. We are very active members of the Global South. Bangladesh participated, was invited as an invitee to the G20 proceedings when India was in the chair. And therefore, we have seen a broad level of collaboration between India and Bangladesh, which I expect will only strengthen if the Awami League comes into power again and Sheikh Hasina assumes the 4th consecutive term and the 5th term overall as Prime Minister.
On that note, Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya, thank you very much for joining us on DD India News Hour. Iqbal Ansari, a resident of Ayodhya, received an invitation to Ram Temple consecration ceremony on January 22nd. Ansari says the Muslim community respected the 2019 verdict of Supreme Court on the Ram Temple issue and are happy with the massive celebration of Ram Temple. The 6,000 invitation cards of the grand consecration ceremony of Ram Lalla have been sent to invitees from across the nation.
Today in Ayodhya, we are joined by Muhammad Iqbal Ansari, the former litigant of Ram Mandir's court case, and we are joined by his family.
धार्मिक कार्यक्रम है, उसमें हमको बुलाया गया है, हम भी जाएंगे, हम भी खुश हैं क्योंकि हमारे अयोध्या का कार्यक्रम है।
क्या तैयारी है, क्या लग रहा है, कैसे जाएंगे?
चाहे मंदिर हो, चाहे मस्जिद हो, हमारा धर्म जो है हर धर्मों का सम्मान करता है, हम भी करते हैं।
This is the kind of religious harmony which we are witnessing here in Ayodhya. With camera person Shiv Suman, I am Kriti Vadhera reporting from Ayodhya Dham for DD India.
The call of this card history has arrived. Invitees are preparing to be part of the sacred ceremony on 22nd January. While reading the card, you can immerse yourself in classic Hindi, golden letters written on maroon base adorned with a gilded border. The prestigious invitation bears the names of key dignitaries like India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat, Uttar Pradesh Governor, Chief Minister Anandiben Patel and Yogi Adityanath, respectively, Ram Janmabhoomi Tirath Kshetra Head Nitya Gopal Das. And for the latest, my colleague Kriti Vadhera is joining us from Ayodhya. Kriti, take us through how is the temple town getting ready for Ram Mandir inauguration?
Well, good evening, Shubhendu.
Yes,
we are live from the...
Yes, go on, please.
From the ghats of River Saryu from Ayodhya. And the town seems to be so energetic. The vibe is totally different here. It is not just because of the tourists who are visiting before 22nd just to witness what is happening and how Ayodhya is preparing, but the localites as well. Since yesterday, we have met several local people here who are full of enthusiasm for 22nd. And if we talk about the revamping of the city, we have walked down on the streets of Ayodhya and we were told that the footpaths which are rebuilt and revamped here it's playing a crucial role in terms of the visitors who are walking on the streets and doing shopping. And here also where I'm standing on the ghat, I would like to request my camera person to show you that so aggressively the work is going on here. And you can see people around, and the ghats are being, made ready for 22nd. And youth across the nation is visiting Ayodhya, and the energy is just wonderful here. And we're joined by some wonderful children also. I would like to show you, there's a child by the name of Ananya who has come to us with this special artwork she has made for 22nd. It's a 3D artwork she has made out of watercolors. अनन्या, आपने कब बनाया ये?
मैंने बस कुछ दिन पहले.
So recently, when it was declared for 22nd January, she has prepared this beautiful artwork.
Right, Kriti. That's a lovely painting there. Kriti, also with the new airport, railway station, how is the accommodation, connectivity infrastructure also getting upgraded in the temple town with so many people all set to visit Ayodhya?
Yes, absolutely. Before we just discuss about it, I have a young fellow with me, Shubhendu, and who was all excited, who came up to me and he said, Madam, I have not celebrated New Year on 1st January. I will be celebrating on 22nd. Please tell your name.
Shivendra.
How is the excitement for 22nd?
We will celebrate it like Diwali, and we will celebrate it like the New Year. The Hindus from all over the world will come to Ayodhya and visit the Ayodhya Ram Mandir. From 22nd, everyone can visit the Ayodhya Ram Mandir, and our God, beloved Sri Ram, will come to Ayodhya and set the foot on Ram Mandir.
Wonderful. Certainly, devotees from not just across the nation, but from across the world will be visiting Ayodhya. And as we discuss about the people visiting Ayodhya, yesterday there was a special flight, a special 180 passenger flight which landed in Ayodhya, and we were fortunate enough to be in the flight, and the chants of Jai Shri Ram could be heard while landing. And if we talk about the railways also, it's a massive planning. After 22nd, it will be a different look in Ayodhya.
There, Kriti, thank you very much for joining us with those updates. The soon-to-be inaugurated Ram Temple of Ayodhya is being provided a comprehensive security cover by Special Police Protection Force of Uttar Pradesh Police. The UP Police's Special Task Force will ensure security of the temple grounds, enclosing the main complex constructed in the traditional Nagara style.
सुरक्षा का कार्य है वो समस्त उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस द्वारा किया जा रहा है। एसटीएफ भी उसका एक हिस्सा है और एसटीएफ की टीम अब अयोध्या में स्थापित हो गई है। तो लगातार जो पूरी सुरक्षा व्यवस्था है उसको डीजीएलओ द्वारा मॉनिटर किया जाता है और इसमें पूरी उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस इस कार्य में लगी हुई है।
Moving on, in a major milestone for the Indian Air Force in terms of operational and troops deployment capabilities, the Indian Air Force demonstrated a groundbreaking feat by landing C-130j Super Hercules aircraft on an airstrip in Kargil during night for the first time. Making this operation even more complex, the Indian Air Force employed terrain masking en route, a technique of low-altitude flight used by military aircraft to avoid enemy radar and infrared detection, enhancing the stealth and security of the aircraft and the troops. The night landing exercise was integrated with training mission of the Garud Commandos, an elite special unit of the Indian Air Force, enhancing operational coordination between its air and ground units. Located in Northern Indian Union Territory of Ladakh at an altitude of about 8,800 feet, Kargil holds immense strategic significance for India's defense capabilities, as it is a close proximity with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as well as China. And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongare joins us from Delhi with more updates. Akshay, first take us through the significance of this stealth operation and the manner in which it was carried out at night.
Well, Shubhendu, there are two major things that have to be focused on as far as this particular operation is concerned. First of all, the way this operation was carried out and the timing of it. The second is, of course, the location, Kargil. Kargil is at an altitude of 8,800 feet. The terrain already is as complex as it is, but landing an aircraft such as a C-130j Super Hercules on an airstrip that is in Kargil was already a complex task, but doing it at night, especially employing the stealth techniques by low altitude flying, made it even more complicated. However, that showed that how much Indian Air Force has become an expert as far as using these kind of tactics are concerned that are employed by only some of the best air forces in the world. So this operation can enhance the troop mobilization in terms of a conflict, and can also go on to show that even if there are complicated situations, the Indian Air Force remains ready to deploy troops or to carry out operations as far as these kind of aircraft are concerned.
Right, a little more on the location where this operation was carried out. Kargil, of great strategic significance for India.
Well, absolutely. The strategic location of Kargil is of immense importance, as it is. We have seen wars that have been fought in Kargil with Pakistan. There is close proximity with China, both of these nations with which India has had conflicts in the past. The region of Siachen is nearby. The entire Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir is adjacent to the Union Territory of Ladakh. So it is extremely important for India's strategic interest as far as this location is concerned, and however this is a difficult terrain, but still the Indian Air Force carried out and employed terrain masking, which is flying very close to the land and to the mountains to ensure that the aircraft doesn't get detected on enemy radars in case of a war or a conflict where these kind of aircraft can become an easy target for enemy missiles or attacks.
Akshay, thank you for those updates. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will leave on a two-day visit to London, United Kingdom, on Monday. He will be accompanied by a high-level delegation of Indian Ministry of Defence, comprising senior officials from various departments of defence. During his visit, Singh will hold a bilateral meeting with his UK counterpart, Secretary of State for Defence, Grant Shapps. They are expected to discuss a wide range of defence, security and industrial cooperation issues. Rajnath Singh is also expected to call on UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and hold a meeting with Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, David Cameron. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal highlighted India's transformative economic journey, said that India's comprehensive development is testimony to Prime Minister Modi's transformative leadership. The minister was speaking at two-day Global Investors Meet 2024 in Tamil Nadu. The summit aims to propel the state towards achieving 1 trillion economy by 2030.
Comprehensive development is a testimony to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's transformative leadership and forward-thinking policies over the last 10 years. And I'm delighted that Tamil Nadu is an integral part of that progressive vision.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian women's cricket team will take on Australia in the second T20 match of the three-match series. And also updates from tennis courts. Naomi Osaka is getting ready to make her return to the Grand Slam arena. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. India's Minister for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Parshottam Rupala, led the Sagar Parikrama Yatra Phase 11 and interacted with media personnel at Gopalpur Port on Sunday and said that the initiative taken by Prime Minister Modi for the upliftment of fishing society is historic. Besides this, the minister's visit aims to assess the implementation of various central government schemes and to review how funds meant for infrastructure development of fishing sectors are being utilized at the grassroots level. Indian government's nationwide outreach initiative, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, aims to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government by ensuring that the benefits of the schemes reach the targeted beneficiaries. Under Vikas Bharat Sankalp Yatra, camps are being organized continuously in the municipal cooperation area of Korba district in Chhattisgarh. Municipal Cooperation Deputy Commissioner Pawan Verma said, 10th camp organized in Korba Municipal Cooperation. In the camp, benefits of the schemes are being given to the eligible beneficiaries. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has also reached village Moklan in Hisar district of Haryana. Villagers appreciated the scheme, said that this is happening for the first time, that government employees and officials are reaching out to their village. People thanked Prime Minister for running the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra strives to make India into a developed nation by 2047. Indian Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal attended the Yatra in Perambur, Chennai. People appreciated the Viksit Bharat Yatra scheme. India's Minister of State L. Murugan participated in Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra held in Ratnapuri area of Coimbatore city, Tamil Nadu. A special camp was conducted and scheme benefits were provided to the beneficiaries. Viksit Bharat Ambassadors Art Competition was organized by Lalit Kala Academy in Delhi. The theme of the event is Bharat ke Barte Kadam, Viksit Bharat ki Or. Secretary of Ministry of Culture Govind Mohan attended the program. He congratulated everyone and applauded becoming a part of this campaign. Viksit Bharat campaign is a campaign that seeks to imbibe into the hearts and minds of every Indian. Let's now take a look at other stories making news. The annual International Kite Festival started in the West Indian state of Gujarat today. The Chief Minister of the state, Bhupendra Patel, participated in the 33rd edition, which will go from January 7th to January 14th. The festival is being hosted by 9 cities across Gujarat. Indian Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav met with BJP workers and participated in a football match in a village in the eastern Indian state of Orissa. Vaishnav sanctioned more than $60,000 to develop the football stadium. He also sanctioned a flyover. India's anti-terrorist squad conducted a raid in financial capital Mumbai's Borivali area. The team arrested 6 people and recovered arms and ammunition from a guest house in the area. Cold wave conditions continue to swell north, northwest and central part of India. According to the Met Department, cold wave alert has been issued for the next 48 hours. In the north, minimum temperatures will likely to be in the range of 6 to 9 degrees Celsius. The national capital is also suffering from extreme winter conditions. Delhi schools will remain closed till January 12th from classes nursery to 5th. In India's Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar's Dal Lake is also experiencing severe cold. Thin sheet of ice was formed on the surface of water bodies. As the city enters into its 40 days of harsh winter period, temperature has dropped considerably in the region. South Peninsular India is also facing light to moderate rainfall over Tamil Nadu during the next 4 days, over Kerala in the next couple of days. And time for stories making news around the world. A glimmer of hope arrived in Japan's quake-hit Suzu city. In a miraculous effort, a woman in her 90s was rescued alive after being trapped for 124 hours in rubble of a collapsed house. The woman survived for more than 5 days after a 7.6 magnitude quake hit on Monday. 126 people have been confirmed dead. Several are still missing. Following a stormy weekend, a tornado ripped through South Florida, United States on Saturday. The strong gust hit buildings and power cables were downed. No injuries have been reported. The first winter storm of the year in the U.S. passed through the east coast on Saturday, moving through the northeast. About 8 inches of snow was forecast in interior portions of New York City, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, northeast through New England. Authorities have urged residents to stay vigilant. In sports, Indian women's cricket team will take on Australia in the second T20 match of the 3-match series. In the first T20 match, India thrashed Australia by 9 wickets to take 1-0 lead in the series. Both Smriti Mandhana and Shefali Verma scored half-centuries then. They compiled a 137-run opening stand. India will look to win the match and clinch the series. Cricket to tennis. Rafael Nadal will miss the Australian Open this month after the Spaniard suffered a small muscle tear during his comeback match from a long injury layoff at Brisbane International last week. The 37-year-old sustained an upper leg issue during his defeat by Jordan Thompson in the quarterfinals of the Brisbane International. Nadal said in a statement on X, "I'm flying back to Spain to see my doctor, get some treatment and rest." Nadal made his long-awaited comeback in Brisbane after spending almost a year on the sidelines with a hip injury. He won the Australian Open in 2009 and 2022. Elena Rybakina secured a crushing 6-0, 6-3 victory against world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka in the finals of the Brisbane International on Sunday. Sabalenka came into the women's final on a 15-match winning streak in Australia, but was completely outplayed by former Wimbledon champion Rybakina. The relentless Kazakh wrapped up the first set in 24 minutes on the back of the 3 breaks. Rybakina broke Sabalenka again to start the second set and sealed her 6th career title when the Belarusian crashed another forehand wide. The men's final was a much tighter contest, with former world number 3 Grigor Dimitrov claiming his first ATP title in more than 6 years with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over Danish young gun Holger Rune. Dimitrov's experience caught Kraft one out over Rune's youthful athleticism in the men's finals. An engrossing contest really, with plenty of high-quality tennis that kept the crowd gripped for more than a couple of hours. And the Australian Open will run from January 14th to 28th. Defending men's singles champion Novak Djokovic seeks an unprecedented 11th title in Melbourne, while Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus aims to retain the women's trophy. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.